Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at gcnlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Everyone all set? Cocked, locked. Here we go. Your dial set correctly to USAPrepares.com. We're delighted you're here. We broadcast 2 hours from high atop the Missouri Ozark Mountains. If you'd like to call us, we'll pay for the call. 866-582-9933. 866-582-9933. If you'd like to take us as you travel or listen in place, 605-477-3249. 605-477-3249. Nathan's engineering the broadcast in Minnesota. Captain John Regan has, wow, spy tech galore. You will not believe what is happening to you and your family. Courtesy of corporate America, global corporations, and our government. Captain John Regan, welcome.
And that's just what we know about.
Oh, I'm outraged. I mean, I am outraged. John, you and I have been following some of the same articles, some of the same news, and it is just over the top what is happening to us. And, Amazon's out of control. John, we said this on this broadcast for years. The companies that are doing well, the companies that have profits, the companies that don't seem to be in any need of cash are in bed with the government, selling our most private information. We've been saying it for years, and it's coming out more and more and more every day. The little mom and pop businesses that are struggling, going under every day, they're not selling our secrets to the government, but the big companies are. And they want more and more and more. And boy, you've got to focus, a razor sharp focus on this topic today. So I encourage our class to share this broadcast with friends and family. And for those who say, I've got nothing to hide, it's okay. Go ahead, look in my pockets. Go ahead, look in my wallet. Go ahead, look in my closets. Go ahead and look in my house. Come on in. It's okay. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? You don't value your privacy? Is that true? Is that true? Think about that. Because what you're going to hear today is startling, it's unnerving, and it's outrageous. And we've got to stop it. We have to stop it. And so I was thinking about, what would Donald Trump do? Well, what would happen if his wife were subject to the invasions that we're subject to? Oh, let's look in her closet. Let's watch her through her mirror. Let's listen in on her phone calls. Let's listen to the things that they say privately between them. As a matter of fact, let's turn on the phone in their bedroom. As a matter of fact, let's watch them through their refrigerator or their television. Let's see what they're doing. And let's record it. I mean, I'm not saying we should do that. I'm saying it's an outrage. How would she feel if she thought that were being done to her? How would she feel? How would he feel if his wife's privacy were invaded? The same way I feel about our privacy being invaded. I'm angry about it. I don't like it. And I want it to stop. And I'm doing everything I can to stop it here at the farm. John, any thoughts before we continue?
There's just so much going on, and you've probably heard about the tornadoes that hit Texas. The last death toll I saw was 13 people, dozens injured, and a lot of that weather was actually supposed to hit the Metroplex, but that shifted the last minute on Saturday and went east of us. So far as we can tell, 2 of the tornadoes were EF3, and it's still a developing story. There is still investigation going on. It's possible that one of those tornadoes was on the ground for over 50 miles. That's part of what they're looking at. Typical tornadoes on the ground, much shorter distance than that. There's all kinds of miraculous stories of people, being spared their lives and injury in the midst of just utter destruction of property. I wouldn't call it as bad as the EF5 that hit Joplin, but it's certainly a very serious disaster for many people in East Texas. I also saw about the floods there in Missouri. It's tough to look at, these types of stories all the time. But we're living in different times, and even just the regular weather here has been crazy. The last week, we had one night that the low temperature was within 2 degrees of tying a record. And then in the next day or two, we're up to 90 degrees. It's just crazy the way the temperature's bouncing back and forth here.
John, we had Mrs. Finelli decided she was going to measure the rainfall. So we have these water goblets that are 6 inches tall, and they're cylinders, so they're not shaped smaller at the bottom, wider at the top. They're cylinders. And she put one of them out on the back veranda there, and it filled up with water over the weekend. So she put another one out, and it filled up with water over the weekend. They're 6 inches tall. Now, there's some splashing that happens. So water goes, the raindrops go in and splash out. So we had well over 12 inches of rain in 2 days. And what that did, we didn't have very much the high winds. And I'm not saying woe is us, because what we got was nothing compared to, here in Missouri, compared to what happened to East Texas. But the road washed out, and anyone with a light truck, like a little half-ton full-size pickup truck, is not getting down our road. I need 4-wheel drive, and the amount of water that ran across the road carved a ditch in the road 2 feet deep. So if anyone has a smart car, they're probably questioning how smart that purchase was if they're trying to get down our road. Anyone who has a small car will get stuck. The front end will get stuck in this hole that runs the whole width of the road if they're trying to get down our road. And we have an old Jeep. Mrs. Finelli and I were out over the weekend checking on fences, repairing fences. Our fence washed across the road. The amount of water was so great that it literally picked up our barbed wire fence and stretched it across the road. And it got tangled in other debris that was floating down the creek. And the creek is typically maybe, 10 feet wide sometimes. It's 40 feet wide. And it was almost up to the hubs of the Jeep running across the road. And, of course, I wouldn't drive the Jeep in water that's up over the hubs, because then water gets into the axle and the differential and, up into parts of the transmission and transfer case and universal joints and so forth, drive shaft. So I don't like doing that. But I didn't. But our road is washed out, and it's going to take some effort to put it back together. So this afternoon, I'm sure we're going to be out there with the backhoe, and we are going to repair the road. Now, that's another question. John, you've seen our driveway, and it slopes slightly downhill. As you enter our driveway from the road, it slopes slightly downhill. And so our gravel that we put on our driveway is now in the road. Our driveway has moved to the road, the county road. Well, it's still our driveway, but it's in the road. And I'm going to go get it back. Now, the question is, what happens if one of these county people sees us with our backhoe recovering our driveway that the elements moved to the road? Now, would they fine us and say, listen, Finelli, you're blocking the road with your driveway, Or would they say, Finelli, you can't go and get your driveway back out of the middle of the road. You can't have your driveway back. It's now our property. And you're going to be fined for getting your driveway back and putting it back where it was. Interesting thought, huh, John?
Knowing the government, it could be both.
Yeah. And, our neighbors actually appreciate what we do around here, because when the road washes out, we take our backhoe and we fix the road. We don't call the county. We just take care of it. And that way they can get in and out of their side roads that enter this main dirt road that our farm is on. But just a thought. What happens if your property ends up in the middle of the road and you go and get it back? And that's something that is of concern. And if they come after us for getting our driveway back, I'll let you all know about it. We'll take some pictures, make sure everybody gets credit for all the harassment that they're going to give us. Now, we don't want to take any more we don't want their road. We just want our driveway back. Because what would it take to get our driveway back? Well, we would have to go find a replacement for the holes that are left in our driveway if we don't get our driveway back. So we'd have to buy that. Now, right now, we can't go buy that because a dump truck with gravel can't get here. So first of all, we have to fix the road so we can get in and out. And then we have to get our driveway back so we can get in and out of our driveway. And that's another thing. Those of you who are thinking about all these smart cars and these little tiny, really, really fuel-efficient cars that you die in when you're in an accident, please think twice about that. Maybe you can get something used that's a little bit bigger, a little bit more substantial, something that's a little bit more crash-worthy. John Regan's got a tremendous lineup today, absolutely tremendous. Please share this broadcast with friends and family. The spy technology that you're going to hear about is over the top. You won't like it. If you want to follow along, thefinancialstateoftheunion.com. Click on the news tab. John, where do you want to start? How do you want to start this?
Scribbles. Sounds so nice and innocent, doesn't it?
It does.
Well, if it hadn't been for WikiLeaks, we still wouldn't know about this. We had previously talked about how Microsoft is working on, with its latest server software, making it to where files would be normally encrypted and they would phone home in the process of being unencrypted to be used. Well, they're not there yet, so the CIA has done the next best thing. They have come up with what in essence is digital watermarks that they apply to a document. It creates a web beacon so that if you're using, and right now this works with Microsoft Office documents, good reason to switch over and use Libre. It will go in and compile some information about the computer it's on, including things like the IP address, and at some point it takes and transmits that information back home. So if you want to try and find out what the government's doing to you, that opportunity is quickly closing, and we'll end up with the government that can do whatever it wants and get away with it, because the journalists and the whistleblowers will be quickly apprehended and dealt with. Vincent?
Yeah. John, I've been using LibreOffice for years now. It's absolutely free. Class, if you want to find out what we're talking about, instead of shifting your money to the world's most wealthy individual, Bill Gates, who feels that there are too many of us on the planet, and we're breathing too much oxygen, and we're using too much fuel, and we're destroying the planet. In some cases, he's right. He really is. We are using too much fuel, and we're wasting it. And that comes from corporate greed and individual greed, the sum of all individual greed on the planet. Americans waste way, way, way too much of everything, in my opinion. We are not as conscious about the resources as we should be. But if you decide that you want to use LibreOffice, Libre, Office, OFFIC, it's absolutely free. Absolutely free. It will do almost everything that the Microsoft Office will do, but it's free. It runs on Linux. It runs on Windows. And you can go to LibreOffice.org, LibreOffice.org. It is the word processing spreadsheet database and equivalent of a PowerPoint tool of my choice. That's what I've been using for years. And I absolutely refuse to spend money on Microsoft products because I know that they've got backdoors and I know they've been in bed with the government for years and years and years. And they've been spying on us. So here you have it, LibreOffice, and you can download it for free. I'll put up a link on the website, usaprepares.com, and you'll be able to use the same software that John Regan and I use. John?
Well, next is the $13 million cat. And many of you will remember a TV show called The $6 Million Man. I guess the premise on that either included a great reduction in cost of technology or they weren't aware of what was going on in real life. In the 1960s, the government decided to make a spy cat. They implanted it with a microphone and antenna, and this was done at a cost of $13 million. I guess we can discuss that a little bit more on the other side.
Class, this is disgusting. You're going to find out that the cruel and unusual treatment of animals at the hand of our U.S. government. I want you to think about this. You see how evil and how sick people are. Coming up next, Captain John Regan. Class, the LibreOffice post is ready for you, so if you want to find out more about it, it'll say free right on the page. So go to usaprepares.com, page number 1, top post, LibreOffice free, and you can download it. It works really, really nicely, and it absolutely is free. So, John Regan, the next thing we're going to talk about is an outrage. The surgery on cats by our CIA.
All right, the project was called Project Acoustic Kitty, ran for 5 years, from 1962 to 1967, at a cost of $13 million. They put an antenna in the cat's tail, ran a wire up its spine to a microphone that was put in its ear. The battery pack was sewn into the cat's chest. The final report concluded that the project was impractical, basically because they couldn't control the behavior of the cat. If you fast forward to today, they've bypassed using such animals. They're using insects that they can control easier, or they're just switching over to robots where you've got a device that looks like a bird or an insect that will sit there and do its spying on you. Vincent.
John, it's an absolute outrage that people would even think about doing something like this, ripping open a cat's spine, putting a long wire along its spine. It's, when you look at the pictures of this surgery, it's cruel, it's unusual, it's not necessary. And so, for those of you in Congress, you want to do stuff like this? Okay, let's start with you guys. So if you think that we should have these kind of tools, why don't you sign up? And why don't you say, listen, operate on me. Put that wire in me. Put that transmitter in me. Stick that microphone in my ear. I'd like to be an example. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about Congress thugs. You want to do that? Go ahead. But you guys go first. And if you want to eliminate population, okay, you guys go first. Show us how it all works. If you want to execute people, you guys go first. Okay, if you think that the death penalty is something that we should have, try it out. See how it works. You guys go first. Show us. Lead by example. Lead by example instead of using us as guinea pigs and animals as guinea pigs. It's an absolute outrage, John. Just thinking about this. We have 4 cats here, and I can't imagine cutting them up and doing this to our cats or our dogs or any other animals that happen to live on the farm. We respect life. Obviously, our government doesn't have the same opinion. What's next?
if you think that one was bad,
Oh,
two
this
heads.
whole hour is going to be bad. This whole hour is going to be bad. I know it is. I studied the notes. Yep, two
Well,
heads.
researchers have now successfully attached a second head to a mouse, avoiding brain-damaging blood loss, while the head is attached to the recipient rat. And there's a picture there of the original rat with another head grafted on. We are, if I didn't include in today's lineup, there was another story this past week where scientists are saying that they will be able to revive those cryogenically frozen heads within 3 years. Whether or not they can do that, they are definitely up to some disgusting things. Vincent.
When you look at these, class, if you go to the website, thefinancialstateoftheunion.com, and you click on the news tab and you click on the link two heads, from the front, it looks like one of these rats is sleeping right on top of the other rat. You know, two heads facing the same way. That's what it looks like. Two front limbs facing the same way on top of the lower rat. But that's not what it is. It's two heads on the same rat. How do we get to this point? How do we get to this point where we're even looking at this? And John, did you get a chance to see any of the video of the White House Correspondents' Dinner?
No, I did not.
They had this comedian. Actually, the comedian's not even the right word. This guy, and he was up there. He was like the main point of the presentation. He was just awful. He was like the worst on-stage person I have ever seen in my life. He was attacking our president. He was talking about how the president didn't show up for the Correspondents' Dinner. I wouldn't either. And they were saying that they really are presenting the news to us. They are really helping us, and they're really keeping us informed. What a bunch of crap that is. They have been lying to us, obfuscating, misrepresenting, not telling us what's been going on for years. And we're supposed to respect those individuals? I don't think so. I was talking to John Stadtmiller about that last night. He called me. And we're talking about, those in the mainstream news. I don't trust the mainstream news at all. At all. And it used to be several years ago, many years ago, maybe even 15 years ago, 20 years ago, you could turn on ABC, CBS, NBC, and it'd be the same news. It'd be the same news. It would just be a different presenter. And it's like, which guy do you like the best? And which guy has the intonation and the tone and the look, and which guy combs his hair the best, dresses the best, and that's the one you watch. But it was the same news. It was almost always in the same order, story after story after story on the national news. And if you watch that, you got a chance to see that it was manipulated, sanitized, and filtered for our programming pleasure, meaning program us the way they want us to think. That's what I thought it was. So I stopped watching the news decades ago. Did you have the same reaction, John?
Well, I was so busy, I didn't get much of a chance to sit down and watch news, especially in my Air Force days, because in addition to your normal job, you're working so hard getting a graduate degree because you have to have that to be promoted to major. And then when you have a job that requires travel, that just adds on to that. So I never had an opportunity to sit down and try and pick my own lyre.
Yeah. Very, very good point. I was thinking about this over the weekend. I was thinking about antennas. When we built our farmhouse starting 2005, one of the things that we did not do is we did not put an antenna mast on the roof. We did not aim an antenna at the big city of Springfield so we could get television news. We didn't think that television was all that important. And, I was thinking how that dovetailed into things that we don't do anymore. I mean, there's no need for a buggy whip company. There's not much need for a over-the-air television transmission antenna company. There there are a lot of things that we don't do anymore, and companies have gone out of business for many reasons because the products just aren't necessary anymore. And one of those was the antennas, and I was thinking about that. I was thinking about a lot of things we don't do. We don't do much ham radio anymore. We don't have many ham radio towers. We have gotten away from many, many things, and some of them are good. I think ham radio was a good thing. You know, guys and gals could learn how waves propagate. They could learn about frequencies. They could learn about Ohm's law. They could learn about electricity. It's worthwhile endeavor. But who does that anymore? Not too many. Not too many. I guess the cell phone has replaced darn near everything.
Well, when we started the show, you talked about people that don't care about their privacy.
Yeah.
It's really kind of hard to understand. This I have nothing to hide mentality. Well, I guess perhaps you reach a certain age where you don't care who sees you naked, but most people have children or grandchildren, and it seems like you might want to be a little concerned about people watching them get undressed or the other actions that go on in the bedroom. And Amazon is jumping in on this. Previously, there were cameras in cable boxes, TVs, game boxes that, of course, like notebook cameras, could be remotely turned on and used to see what's going on at your end. Well, Amazon has a new Echo Look camera, and reportedly it's to do things like suggest the wardrobe for you. So it takes full-length images of what you're wearing and dutifully spies on you so it can give you advice. Vincent.
So, John, let's make sure we understand. This is a mirror, and you can put this in your bedroom and your bathroom, both if you'd like, and it will help you get dressed. Because obviously, we're probably not capable of getting dressed by ourselves. And it will secretly record photos and videos of you in your own bedroom and bathroom. Amazon, that company that has taken over our lives, taken over commerce, catapulted to number one. The Jeff Bezos of Amazon is right behind Bill Gates. He's within $5 billion of catching up to Bill Gates. And I'm sure he's going to pass him, because what is Bill Gates going to do? Unless he's going to sell more secrets of ours to the government. What else is he going to do? Captain John Regan to us. John, I mentioned this guy who was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. His name is Hassan Minhaj. And so he ripped into the president with this no-holds-barred, mediocre. It wasn't even mediocre. It was a poor performance. The worst performance I've ever seen anybody do on stage. The guy's got a mouthful of teeth. He looks goofy. He just did a miserable job. And he was advised not to rip into the president when the president wasn't there. But, he did it anyway. And I'm going to post this on the website, USA Prepare, so you can see. But it was the most disgraceful presentation I have ever seen anyone do in front of people. There's nothing worse. If this guy wet his pants, it would have been better than what he did. It was horrible. There's no excuse for it. This guy is a national disgrace. And I hope that his career follows his actions. I hope his career is over, because there's no use for this guy being in public. Absolute disgrace. Hassan Minhaj. And they call him a comedian. There was nothing funny about it. Nothing. And I looked around the room. I looked at the video. I watched it. And people had their heads down. They're barely clapping. They're barely interested. This was just horrible. And these are the people who are the White House correspondents. These are the people who are helping us get information from the White House. No wonder the president wants to distance himself from these clowns. John?
Well, let me skip to the last one and try and back up to the one before that. Just add Gilligan. This is a preparedness article, how to make your own semi-automatic off-the-grid washing machine with no electricity. And it uses a bicycle. And the picture there, to me, is so reminiscent of Gilligan's Island. Just, climb on and start pedaling, and you'll agitate your clothes there. It comes with instructions on how to build this. And you definitely want to have something full-size when you no longer have electricity, not one of these smaller ones that you see advertised as better suited for portable applications. And before we run out of time, forget about it. Experts, new computers can delete thoughts without your knowledge. We've been talking about brain hacking, where they can read your thoughts, and they are, not just satisfied with reading. They're wanting to implant, change, and remove memories. Because, after all, does your brain belong to you, Vincent?
Very upsetting, the kinds of things that we're even thinking about, John, today. How does somebody come up with this? How does someone come up with, let's erase what's in your mind. Let's read your dreams. Let's Bert Bertonis and I, back in 1980, wrote an April Fool's joke. We published it, and we said that we invented this kind of technology that would let you pretend to be a character in a movie, and all you would do is just attach this connector to your arm. And we said that we invented it, and we said that we unveiled it at the Walter Reed Army Hospital, and it was published. It was published pretty wide, and it was a joke. And we were just saying that you could play Rambo. You want to be Rambo, you could be Rambo, but you better go and be stress tested first, because if you're going to jump off some cliff in the movie, you might die while you're watching the movie. So make sure that you're up for being Rambo if you want to be Rambo. And, we alluded to all this. And this was back in 1980, a long time ago. And we were just kidding. But there are people who actually think that we should be involved in manipulating the mind and doing some very evil things. I'm not for any of it. Captain John Regan, I'll be right back. We've got some more spy tech, and it's just as bad. It's just as bad about what you've been hearing, and we're going to hear about Caterpillar. Well, class, this might just very well be a first. Captain John Regan's with us, and I'm at thefinancialstateoftheunion.com. This is hour number 2 of USA Prepares, and we are on schedule. We literally completed the notes for hour number 1 during hour number 1. John, is that a record?
I think we managed that once or twice before, but I think that's the first time this year.
Yeah. Wow. Well done. You did a great job. You didn't let me interrupt too much. Wonderful. Okay, so pension database, is that where we are?
That's where we are. And this is a site that is put together by an organization called Truth in Accounting. It's State Data Lab. So when you go there, you get to choose a state and choose a year, which right now is 2015. So this information isn't for last year, but for the year before that. And I can pretty much guarantee you that when we do get the 2016 results, that with very few cases, the results will be worse. So I'm just going to select Texas in 2015 and hit the view results. And there's quite a number of public pension funds throughout Texas, and this includes the one we've been talking about a lot, the Dallas Police and Fire Fund. Scrolling down the list, the first group, most of them are D's and F's. Got a C for the Judicial Retirement System of Texas, Plan 2. Their Plan 1 is an F. City of Arlington part-time and temporary employees has an A+, surrounded by C's and D's. You get down to the Dallas Police and Fire Pension System, that's got a whopping F, and oh boy, it's hard to even just find C's in this mess, and Texas is probably one of the better states to be in as far as this goes. So you can read across for each plan. It will tell you the size of the assets. Some are in the millions, some are in the billions, how much they have promised to pay, what the unfunded amount is, gives you the percent funded, the discount rate, which means that's how much they expect their assets to earn every year. In many cases, that's still showing a figure of 7 or 8% when that is nowhere near the reality of today's market. It also includes the percent contributed and how much the state share is. And so you can spend quite a few hours there. You can look at your own state. You can look at some of the worst states like Illinois or California and get a feel for what things look like. Vincent?
I remember report card grades, starting with A being the best, F being the worst, and you're talking about the Dallas Police and Fire Pension System combined plan. It's ranked F, and it says that the planned amount was $2.7 billion. The promised amount was $9.5 billion, and the shortfall, or the let me go up here, the unfunded benefits are 28%. 28% unfunded. They've got huge problems. Huge problems. John, the question that people are asking is, all right, let's say that's me. Let's say I'm in that plan. What do I have to look forward to? Or what kind of surprises am I going to get if I'm in a plan like that the promises are greater than the original vision and it's unfunded at, 30% or so? What happens? Do we know?
Well, that's kind of nothing compared to Social Security and Medicare. But if you want to look further, and what's so nice about this database is now that you have the name of the plan, you should be able to find somewhere on the internet the CAFR, the financial report for that plan. And that will give greater details about the plan, including what the plan is invested in. And as we've talked about, we've already have signals for what's coming. And that includes a retraction in the stock market, at least 50%, could be 70%, could be 90%. But it is going to correct big time. Also, as interest rates go up, the value of the bonds go down, so whatever they have invested in bonds, you can expect that to go down as well. You'll also see real estate holdings, and since that real estate bubble is looking like it's going to pop sometime this year, those real estate values go down. So whatever it's invested in, and whatever condition that the fund currently has, I would expect it to look even worse. And with these public plans, there's only really two ways you can go, or it's a combination of it, is you either cut benefits or you raise taxes. And the peasants out there are having a hard time coming up with more taxes. So I think the option is going to end up being cutting benefits, sometimes severely.
John, I'm looking at Chicago. Well, Illinois, Illinois, 2015. And it says here that the Municipal Employees Annuity and Benefit Fund of Chicago, it's ranked F. It's 20% funded, 20% funded. Meaning, to me, the way I'm reading this is 80% unfunded. Am I reading that right, John?
That's what it says.
And I'm looking at the Policeman's Annuity and Benefit Fund of Chicago is 25% funded, meaning 75% unfunded. The firemen, they're not doing so well either. The Firemen's Annuity and Benefit Fund of Chicago, 21% funded. Now, the Illinois General Assembly Retirement System, this one I don't have a problem with. It's only 16% funded. So if the General Assembly doesn't get their retirement, that's okay with me. That's okay. John, it doesn't look good. It looks like promises were made and promises can't be kept. And what happens when a promise can't be kept? It's not kept, right?
Yeah, there's not too many options on that. And we typically see that Democrat states are in the worst position. They love to make promises. Doesn't matter whether or not they keep them, because that way they get people to vote Democrat, because they think they're going to be able to get something for nothing. And sooner or later, that will rise up and bite you know where.
You know, I'm looking at, I clicked on New Jersey, and here's just a highlight. The financial state of the state of New Jersey ranks number 50. That'd be last. Here are the highlights. This is from the post that you've got linked. New Jersey owes more than it owns. It owes more than it owns. The taxpayer burden ranks 50th. New Jersey is 50th out of the 50 states, without enough assets to cover its debt. New Jersey has only $24.6 billion of assets available to pay bills totaling $207.6 billion. Unbelievable. How are we mismanaging? I guess it takes government to mismanage at this colossal level. The rest of us couldn't do this. We would say, no, that won't work. We just can't keep going deeper and deeper and deeper into the hole. We can't do it. Makes no sense. I remember driving up our driveway with Mrs. Finelli years ago, and I just turned to her in the truck and I said, I got it. All we have to do is borrow more money. And, you know, we don't borrow money. That's something that we don't do. But it's kind of funny that all you need to do is borrow more money. And I think people are doing that. And what I'm reading about in Europe, especially in England, young people are they're going on these binges. They want to feel good. So they go shopping. And they just get store credit and other kinds of credit. And they want to be happy, and they feel they deserve to be happy. And one way to be happy is just to buy stuff. And if you can't afford it, well, that's kind of irrelevant. All you have to do is just borrow the money and it'll be okay. I know a guy, John, and this young man was married, and he decided that he wanted a new car, got a new job. He wanted a new car and got a new car. His wife felt, well, he got a new car, so she deserved one. And then they needed some furniture, so they got some furniture, and they went to the store, and they got a mattress. I mean, a very, very, very expensive mattress. Now, to me, $1,000 for a mattress is a lot of money. I'm thinking $200 for a mattress is a lot of money, but I guess I'm living in prices of yesteryear. Well, pretty soon, those no money down, no payments for a year came due. First car gets hooked. Second car gets hooked. Mattress gets hooked. Furniture gets hooked. Now they've got nothing. They thought it would never happen. They thought, this is free. This is free stuff. It's not true. It's not true. And that's where education is falling down. We're not teaching this in school. So, John, I did some arithmetic last night. And it's really simple. I said, how many seconds are there in 90 minutes? There's 5,400 seconds. And then I thought, why don't I divide 400,000 by 5,400 seconds? And how much would that be per second? That'd be 74. What am I talking about? I'm talking about how much an organization, A&E, was willing to spend for drivel. They hired this guy who likes to play golf, Barry Soetoro. They hired him for a 90-minute appearance/interview. They paid him $400,000 for 90 minutes. That's $74 a second. When Barry Soetoro said he can't wait to get on the circuit and start making some serious Tubman, that would be the person who was going to replace the face on one of our Federal Reserve notes. We haven't seen it yet, thank God. But he wants to make some serious cash. Well, he is. $74 a second. I couldn't stand hearing that guy's voice when it was free. Things are inside out, upside down, wrong, backwards, inverted, sideways. I looked on the internet during the break, and I can't find anything that is negative about the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We're the only ones reporting what a miserable performance that was. We're the only ones. It's horrible. So the media is not saying how bad it was. So maybe it's time to turn off the media. Back to you, John.
Well, the first time I was on the air with you was February of 2012. And it was a few months before I became more regular. And November 2012 was the last time that anybody could report an increase in sales by Caterpillar. Well, after 51 months of sales declines, Caterpillar finally reported its first gain. However, if you go to the article below that, the only thing is that, that gain may be due to accounting tricks. So don't celebrate too much just yet. Vincent.
You know, John, we got some equipment here manufactured by John Deere, old equipment from the 1980s. The newest piece is from 1991 tractor. And we have some international, we have an international tractor, outstanding. We have a case backhoe, an old one, outstanding. And we have a piece of, we have a little Caterpillar, mid-sized bulldozer, old one, real old, outstanding. Caterpillar equipment is like top of the line, as good as you can get. I mean, we only paid $3,500 for our bulldozer, which is, by the pound. You can't buy anything that is that cheap per pound for $3,500. It's over 20,000 pounds. And it is top of the line. It is really incredible engineering. It is heavy. It's magnificent. So it's not like they're making poor quality equipment. It's something else. It's something else that's happening to Caterpillar. John, do you have a feel for what it is? Is it just the global slowdown?
That's the big thing. The question is, did the Depression start in 2008 or 2000? When that dot-com bubble burst, things never really recovered. Then when we got hit with the housing collapse in 2008, and in fact, I think the number I just saw is they've injected $70 trillion of new debt, and that's why things have been so wonderful, since then.
Well, actually, yeah, and the price of avocados is getting wonderful. They're going way up. Avocados, absolutely. Way up in price. And vanilla. Wait till you find out what happens to vanilla beans. 4 times the price. Almost overnight. We'll be right back. Captain John Regan's with us. TheFinancialStateOfTheUnion.com. If you'd like to follow along, please click on the news tab. John, a secret document shows some scary detail about Facebook and how it can exploit insecurities of teenagers using the platform. And this comes out from news.com.au, okay? And it says that Facebook has come under fire over revelations. It's targeting potentially vulnerable youths who need a confidence boost to facilitate predatory advertising practices. So this confidential document dated this year detailed how monitoring posts, comments, and interactions on the site Facebook can figure out when people as young as 14 feel defeated, overwhelmed, stressed, anxious, nervous, stupid, silly, useless, and a failure. And they're using that information to target these young people for advertising. So, class, as parents and grandparents, I think that this Facebook thing is really what we said it was in the beginning. It's a marketing tool. It's a CIA tool. It's to look into your private lives. It's to figure out who you are, what you're vulnerable to, and make you suggestible or help suggestions overcome you, get you to do things that you might not ordinarily do. And people are becoming lonely. Lonely. They're talking to each other every 20 seconds. At least talking, well, that's a inaccuracy. They are communicating with each other every 20 seconds. How are you? What are you doing? I don't know. What are you doing? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. Look at this. This picture of my cat. This is the front of my cat. This is the back of my cat. I mean, who cares? But people are doing this kind of stuff. They're sending messages, and they're in constant contact. And they're now lonely and susceptible. So we are training young people to be susceptible and giving them tools for their own destruction. And I believe Facebook is one of them. John, do you have a comment on that?
And then when you combine that with the smartphones themselves, Facebook and other technology will be determining what your mood is the entire time. And if you are not in an appropriate state of mind, you may have help summoned for you.
Just one quick comment. Citibank has been coming after us, and we've had a credit card, AT&T Universal Card, for 27 years. Pay the bill in full, on time, all the time. One time, over the Christmas holidays, the payment arrived late. They slammed us for $25. I said, here is a payment in full, except for the $25. We will pay the amounts that we've charged on this card. We will not pay, no matter what. We will not, no matter what, we'll pay this outrageous $25 fee. Well, that $25 fee this year has accumulated to over $90. $90. And Citibank, which took over the AT&T Universal Card, and it was a great card when it was AT&T, but Citibank took it over and they've ruined it. And so they've got this robo voice that calls us a couple times a day with a foreign accent, and he welcomes us to the Citibank family. Class, I am not part of the Citibank family. Family members don't do these kinds of things to family members. They don't beat them up. And that's what Citibank does. It's a horrible, 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 horrible arrangement. So take a look at your Citibank card, and if they're beating you up, you may want to do what I did. And I just wrote on the statement, I'm not paying this $25 fee, cancel the card. And then they sent me a letter saying you have to send it in writing. So I wrote on that, cancel the card. Then they sent me a letter in writing saying you have to send it in writing, cancel the card. And finally, they decided that maybe they should cancel the card. They did. But it hit $90-something, maybe 96. I'm not paying it. I'm not paying it, no matter what. I don't care what they do to our credit rating. I'm not paying it. Citibank is out of control. And you may find that your bank is out of control, too. So take a stand. You can do what we did. You can take a stand. Tell them to stuff it. We don't need it. We'll get a different credit card if we need one. But we don't need one. John, back to you.
Well, those of you that think that self-driving cars are way into the future, here's another wake-up call. Waymo, which spun off from Google last year, is one of the companies in the self-driving car business. And they just debuted rides for people in the Phoenix, Arizona area. And you do have to be a resident of the area to use this. And it's not without a driver at the wheel. However, the car will be doing most of the driving. So while the cars are learning the streets of Phoenix, they get you spoiled to having the service. And then once they're satisfied that it can drive itself, that driver goes away. And, all those taxi drivers and Uber drivers that, could use to at least make some kind of money for their family, well, forget about all that. Vincent?
John, it reminds me, as you were saying this, it reminds me of the time that I was in a tractor, and I was pulling a farm implement behind this tractor. It was just a 40 horsepower tractor, so it was only a 4,000-pound tractor. I was going up the our dirt road along the farm, and I was going from one field to another. It was hay season. And I saw this dust cloud coming toward me. I thought, wow, whoever it is really going way too fast. And I was going up a hill, and I couldn't see over the top of the hill who it was. It was a cop car. It was a police cruiser. It was a county cop, deputy. And I blocked the road. My tractor and the And the rake that I had was pretty wide. And I blocked the road, and that cop had to stop. And I mentioned to him that I thought he was going pretty fast for that road. Too fast for that road. I told him twice that, going a little fast for this road, aren't you? No. Going a little fast for this road, aren't you? Now, here's the point. So we have one of these self-driving cars coming down toward me in a farm tractor. How's it going to work? How will that work? Because the road is 1.5 cars wide. Not 2 cars wide, 1.5 cars wide. And the ditch that the county puts on the road is, well, some places it's 2 feet deep. So if you go just a little bit off, just a little bit, like 6 inches off the edge of the road, your front suspension is going to be on the ground. And your wheel is going to be suspended in the ditch in free air. And your car is going to be sitting on either its unibody or its frame. You're not going to be able to get out of there. Now, how's that going to work with these self-driving cars? Do they know about this? Do they know about tractors? Do they know about farmers who want to patrol their roads and keep the other vehicles from speeding down them? Do they know about that? Are they going to run into us? Are they going to stop? What are they going to do? What are they going to do? And will the person in the passenger seat be able to overcome that situation where the farmer says, you know what? I don't think your behavior in this vehicle is acceptable for our neck of the woods. Why don't you turn around or rethink your driving habits or the driving habits of this computer that you're sitting next to? John, I don't know how this is going to work, but I don't think I like very much of it, if any of it at all. And I'm just trying to put myself in some of these positions that I've already been in with self-driving autonomous vehicles behind me, in front of me. As a matter of fact, in front of me is a little safer for me than behind me. When they're behind me, I don't know if these things are going to ram me. I have no idea, and I don't like it. And you can't look them in the eyes because there are no eyes. But one of the problems that we're having, John, is that driving distracted is becoming ubiquitous. It's a menace. People aren't paying attention. And there's so many people who aren't paying attention. I guess those who want to rule the world are saying, well, that's okay. They don't have to pay attention. We'll just replace them. And that's what we did back in the banking era when we had young people who wouldn't show up for work because they wanted Friday off. Then they wanted Monday off. They wanted a 3-day weekend. We couldn't get them to show up to take care of our customers. We replaced them with computers. We replaced them with press 1, press 2, the thing that you hate when you make those phone calls. I was involved in that. I did that. I was in charge of the project that did that. One of the first ones in the country. I'm sorry. I apologize. I hate them. But that's what we did because we saw that we thought there was a need to replace these people who wouldn't show up. So if we're not driving and paying attention, I guess we're going to replace the drivers who aren't paying attention with something else. I'm going to call that a computer. And here we are. Stupid people brought this on us. These women who are putting makeup on, driving with their knees, guys reading the paper, texting, tweeting. Really, is it that important? Pay attention. You're driving a motorized missile. You can kill people with it. And then what are you going to do when you run somebody over and kill them, or their parents, or their children, or the head of the household, and you destroy lives? We can say, I'm sorry? Pay attention. Get rid of that darn phone. It's destroying lives all around you, including your own families. I'm sorry, I just launched into a button-pushing tangent.
I only have a few of those during a show.
John, we've lost our way. We have lost our way. And we've done it to ourselves because of our own stupidity, our own greed, our own selfishness, our own desire for immediate gratification and personal pleasure. What a bunch of morons we are. If there are aliens up there, and I believe there are, and they're looking down at us, they're laughing at us. What we've done to this great planet we had. We'll be right back. Class, I want to thank you. I just went to TalkStreamLive.com, and we're number 19. We broke the top 20. How'd that happen? How did that happen? Thank you so much. I'm humbled, flattered, and I don't know what to say, but I just want to say thank you, John Regan. Job well done. Sandcastles?
Let's see if we can run the table here. You go to the beach for some relaxation, and you have a young child that does probably what most of us have gone to the beach done for ages, and that's build a sandcastle. However, in Panama City, Florida, this guy got threatened with a $500 fine and up to 60 days in jail.
Yeah, and he didn't use a backhoe.
This wasn't a party, drugs, alcohol, anything like that. The horrific offense is that his son was using metal tools to make his sandcastle. And if
Metal
you think
tools.
that's and if you think that's bad, if you're planning on going to Europe, you may not want to do any driving yourself.
Wow, you're right.
They have speed cameras there. They've had them there since before I arrived in 1982. Apparently, they've put a whole lot more in since. And if you're doing even 1 kilometer over the speed limit, and to put that into our American terms, that's less than 2/3 of a mile. So less than 2/3 of a mile per hour speeding, and you'll get a ticket that's 175% of your weekly income, nearly twice what you make in a week. So, it's not just here in the United States. Government everywhere is really working hard to punish its citizens.
Yeah. So, John, let's be really clear about this. What the government is saying is, if you go any amount over the speed limit, even 0.62 miles per hour over the speed limit, less than 1 mile per hour over the speed limit, which is like, we're talking about a needle width on a speedometer, right, class? A needle width. Let's say you're going downhill, and it just happens. They want what you can afford to let them steal from you. Actually, they want it all. They're going to price the fine based on your ability to pay. So it's not a universal amount like a $25 ticket. It's not like that. It's like, how much do you make? And they want a percentage of that. So your fine may be different from the person who's being fined right next to you. You need to fight these things. And John, one of the things I wanted to talk about today, just very quickly, is don't let the government steal money from people. So let's say you go to a restaurant and you feel obligated to put a tip down. Don't tip. Do not stop tipping right now. Class, you made the last tip you're going to make. What you're going to do, if you choose to do this, is gift. And you just write on a piece of paper, this is not a tip. This is not a tip. This is a gift. This is a gift because I like you. And it is not taxable. This is from me to you, a personal gift. And it's not taxable. So, and do it in cash, okay? So no more tipping because the government wants to steal a portion of your tip to that waiter or waitress. They want to steal it. So don't let them do it. It's not a tip anymore. It's a gift, a non-taxable gift. What do you think, John?
Enjoy it while it lasts, because when digital currency comes, they're going to tax every transaction.
That's true. That's true. But while we can make it last, let's try. And cash is something that, class, you're going to need to use. Use it now. Because if you don't, we won't have any. It'll be stolen from us. The anonymity of cash will be gone unless you preserve that right by using cash. It's more difficult. It's a pain. But the transactions are settled immediately. Captain John Regan, thank you so much for being with us. TheFinancialStateOfTheUnion.com. Above all, honesty and integrity. What happens next is up to you.